Let's stay then with this particular story and speak to the IFP Gauteng Chairperson Bonginkosi Dhlamini. Thank you so much to you for your time this evening. Let's start then with your reaction to the protest that we saw today.
Thank you very much with your viewers at home. I think as the IFP, we are very much worried about this ticking time bomb that is happening in our province. It started in Tembisa on the East Rand, it is now in Kagiso. And when the underlying issues here is what the former president said in the memorial service of the late Jesse Duarte, that we are sitting with a time bomb because of the high level of unemployment, the high levels of crime, the high level of corruption, and the laissez-faire and don't care attitude of the ruling party. Therefore, they've left these things lying aloof. I remember very well in the legislature, there was a motion about the zamas and so forth about in the last term. But the government is just not prepared to do its work and stop this criminality. And the police also are not helping, because it is a known fact that police vans from local police stations are collecting money from these zamas. Therefore, now the community is taking up its own the law in their own hands, and we condemn that as the IFP. We are saying they should not do that, but in the absence of that, that is why the communities are now taking up on their own. So our reaction as the IFP is that we're not surprised, because we're sitting in a time bomb. Government is just not worried. They think it's business as usual. People are dying like flies in the townships. There is lawlessness, and government just does not care. Instead, we see them just marching against each other. It's not helping. These budgets that are being spent almost every year, but they don't make any practical, changeable impact in the townships where there is poverty.
I'll get to the government's handling in just a moment, but let's stay with this then, because I'm listening to what you're saying. It sounds then like you're saying that what we saw in Tembisa, what we are seeing in Mogale City, and also what we saw happen in Emalahleni should not be viewed in isolation.
Should not be viewed in isolation. There is a lot of frustration in the townships. There is a lot of frustration in our townships because of the high levels of unemployment. We're not saying you must justify violence, but these are underlying issues. Anything can trigger these things, because we are sitting at 41% unemployment in this country, which in other countries governments resign on only 8%. They are budget spent, as I say to you, but they are not making any impact. Money is vanished between the departments and the projects, and nothing happens on the ground to change our people's lives. And as IFP, as we have condemned violence even during the liberation struggle, we are also condemning it now to say our people must not resort to violence. There are peaceful means to deal with these issues that they could use.
And you talk about government's handling of this particular crisis. In your view, how should they be doing things differently on the ground?
One is that we must beef up our police. It's not all policemen that are corrupt, but most of the police at police stations where the crime is taking place have an unholy friendship with these criminals. That is why nothing is happening. I mean, if you go to Kagiso police station now and see how many reports have been reported of burglaries, of rape, of mugging, but not one arrest has been made, because some of the police at local level have this relationship. Therefore, all we are saying as the IFP, we are going back to what we said as back as 1990, that policing cannot be a national competence. Our MEC, Faith Mazibo in Gauteng, he is just a liaison between police and the community, but she does not have the power either to appoint a provincial commissioner, deploy police where they're supposed to be, create task forces according to crime formula in Gauteng. Because when you look at Gauteng, it got its own problems. You go to Western Cape, they've got a problem of gangsterism. You go to Free State, they've got a problem of stock theft and so forth. Here in Gauteng, we've got a myriad of criminal activities. Therefore, if that is why even the minister was embarrassed on TV, but he did not see that as embarrassment. To say, as a national minister, is told that there was this raping in Krugersdorp by the zamas. Instead of him going to Krugersdorp, he goes to Klerksdorp. Now that alone tells you and demonstrates that we must devolve power down to provinces, more especially police power.
Mr. Dhlamini, let's talk about what we're seeing unfolding on the ground, and we've seen it in recent days. And we're listening to you, of course, talk about how government can be, resolving this particular crisis, and as you call it, a ticking time bomb. I wonder then what the IFP does in this particular time to ensure that you are also at the forefront of assisting the people on the ground, that is.
This morning, I was on the phone with the with the chairperson of the ANC in this province, Mr. Panyaza Sufi, saying to him, this now does not need one political party, or it does not need to be politicized. We need to come together as all parties across the political line to come up with a solution, because the IFP cannot have a wisdom, or any one party can have a wisdom of solving the problems, and we will not want to come here on TV and say, as the IFP, we've got a silver bullet for this problem. That is why I took the initiative to phone the chairperson of the ANC, and I'll be engaging also other party leaders to say, let us take initiative as all political parties represented in the legislature, and even those who are not represented, and civil society, and come up with a solution to this problem. Because this ticking bomb, for me, I'm afraid that it might spread to other areas, and it cannot be. And I want to appeal to South Africans. Let us not destroy what we have because we want that which we don't have. We cannot be dissatisfied with one thing and destroy one that we have. We can't ban our own country because we want certain things. Therefore, we let desist from violent acts and protest peacefully, and make sure that we participate in finding solutions to our problems. So as the IFP, we have taken that initiative, and on the ground, our people. I know for a fact that our leadership on the ground, they are on the ground trying to calm our people that they should not be part of any violent act.
Is it not time, though?
As much as we understand the frustrations on the ground by the lack of poor service delivery, the indifference of politicians who are given responsibility.
Mr. Dhlamini, I'm going to have to cut in there, pardon me, because we're running out of time. But is it not time to stop talking and to stop these phone calls and to stop being inside the legislature? And for all of you, regardless of political parties, go to the ground. As you say, it's at crisis level. Why are we still calling each other if things are at crisis level and not going to where the people are?
Yes, the call was exactly to trigger that as parties, let's go there, because we don't want to politicize this, because one of the biggest mistakes that this country has made is to politicize almost everything. And that is why civil society is now wanting to distance himself from politicians. Then the phone call to the chairperson of the ANC here was exactly to trigger that, to say that if we go there as IFP or you go there as ANC, it's just politicking. It's not practical on the ground.
All right, Mr. Dhlamini, thank you so much. We do appreciate your time this afternoon. That is the Gauteng Chairperson of the IFP, Bonginkosi Dhlamini, talking to us about what is unfolding on the ground and saying that it is time for action, Francis, because really one would say if you're at crisis level, go to the ground.